1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. Mic check. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh no, I'm hearing myself. Okay. Music? Music. It's always the same music. It's the YouTube free library. So sorry if it seems repetitive, but hey, I'm trying. So I started a bit earlier today, so less panicky this time, and hopefully everything will be ready, and definitely less dead air in the beginning. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also heard a little bit of news. I don't know if it's true, but I think in the wintertime, people tend to be a little more sad. And they tend to not think, there's less sunshine, it's more quiet, there's less greenery, less birds and bees running around. So, it's considered a bit more of a sad season than something like the spring or the summer, right? And of course, there's also other things that happen, like maybe end of the year, accounting, school finals, just a lot of very stressful factors beyond what someone might experience in their personal life. And so, to that end, if anyone, isn't feeling good, they're just not feeling right. I think that the wonderful thing that is the internet is a great creation, because you can always reach out. Might not be helpful, right? Might be terrible. Might talk to someone or something, and they're totally dismissive, but I still do, but I used to play more games than I did now. Things like WoW. And you could always reach out and just talk to someone, shoot the shit. Team Fortress 2, stuff like that. So, yeah, doing that, being able to talk to other people, even just random people, going outside once in a while, I think it'll do wonders. So just keep that in mind. All right, now, I learned my lesson. Oh, okay, it loaded. I learned my lesson, and I'm gonna try to post something. If anyone's Vtutoring, yeah, there it is. Yeah, right up top. Love to see it. Okay, and let me get the chat up. Open source projector. There we go. But yeah, just a little PSA to kind of keep in mind that winter is only a season, right? There's always next year. Okay. So, now I think today's lesson, again, if anyone is here and you want tutoring, it could be, I don't know, math. I mean, math involves like a lot of stuff, right? There's algebra, calculus, pre-calculus, geometry, trigonometry. Any of that stuff, hey, I think I'm your guy. I'm here to help. That's the whole shtick, right? The only thing that's missing is like, the other person. But definitely here. So if you want help for any of that math stuff, just say so in chat and I can get you right in and we can help you out. And by we, I mean like myself, yourself, and if any other chatter kind of wants to pop in, right? And like say stuff that might help because, it's been a while since I've done some of those things, but I can remember. And then, yeah, ideally it's for math, but if you need help with the writing process, I don't know about English. I'm gonna say maybe. I can try, right? Something like that. I can give it a shot. But man, if it's like, ooh, if it's like materials or like derivatives, that's a bit iffy, man. At that point, you're probably in like some like your junior year of college, and I think teacher's aide would be a better help than random me. But until then, right? The goal is to kind of have these lessons put math and these tools that you learn in school into a practical use, right? Because you learn x equals 3, and then 5 plus x equals what, right? It's 8. Whoop-de-doo. But again, this isn't just like some kind of a rote, boring thing you have to remember. It's something you can apply to real life, to real finances, to your own personal spending, your own habits. If a game of League averages about to like 25 minutes, and right now it's like, what is it? 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you gotta go to bed at, let's say, 9 p.m., right? Then how many how many games of League does that leave you on average? Right? So how many games? And again, silly example, right? I'm just kind of doing this as a demonstrative of how, again, this algebra formula that maybe you might learn in school can actually be applied to apply formula and structure to your own personal life, and in a way that you can have fun with too. It's about 60 minutes an hour, 2 hours. I'm pretty sure anyone with a calculator could have already done this, like already. Equals 120 minutes, right? And then let's see, 120 divided by 25. I wish League games broke more into even numbers, like 20 minutes, but I mean that's usually like the time when you surrender, right? Like either you surrender or they surrender at 20. But other times, you guys are actually having a good match, and then that's kind of where that 5 comes in. Maybe it takes a little bit extra. I remember games when they used to go to like 40 minutes. Oh, did someone join? Or is that just me? No, I think that's just me. Right? Or is the whole thing just flickering? Yeah, I think it's just all flickering. Yep, no, it's just me. Okay, I've never seen the 1 pop up, but I know that if someone else was here, they'd show up like right there. Okay. I only bring that up because this is actually a program to help students to get them in here, right? So I don't know, maybe an old student pop by and it's gonna say hello. But until then, this averages to about maybe 4.8 games a League a night, right? Or maybe just like 4 games a League, and then like 1 of ARAM. Again, silly example, I know, but this is a way in which you can use the formulas that you learn that you might think are not important to actually structure things like free time, work schedules, stuff like that. If you know how to use it right. And part of using that right is going to be today's lesson on spending habits. If I could find it. Got it. Okay. I think last time we talked a little bit about some other stuff, and this time we'll talk about different stuff. Sorry to be vague, but I think we'll start on the concept of paying yourself. Now, paying yourself might seem funny, right? Like, how does one pay oneself? Is that like your own kind of allowance? Where you just say, oh yeah, you know, I want to pay myself this much money every time I do something good, or I do a chore. Maybe, sure, why not, right? It could totally be like that. But paying yourself really means the idea of paying yourself in the present. Well, I should move this a bit in the middle. In the past, and in the future. Oh, that's way too close. Now, how does one pay oneself in the past, present, and future? Well, because in the past, maybe you have something like a debt, right? Could be credit card debt, could be a loan that you took out, could be car payments. This is paying yourself in the past. And this is kind of prioritizing doing that, right? But then also paying yourself in the present, you can do that too. You can say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna have this much money for fun and games. And you set kind of like an allowance to yourself. I'm saying I'm gonna pay myself X amount of dollars every pay period. Cool. You can do that. Because once you get everything settled else in the budget, you can actually make room for this sort of thing. Now, again, it's like that kind of that analogy with like the rocks that they like to do in like seminars and stuff, where it's like, well, you gotta put the big rocks first, then the medium rocks, then the little bit of sand, and then the cup of coffee. Ha ha ha. It's kind of like that. And this is kind of the cup of coffee part, or the little rocks. But I would say it's kind of important. Because, you know, if you don't eat, if you don't relax, if you don't have fun, you know, stress will take its toll. And paying yourself in the future, well, that's things like insurance and retirement. And so forth. So when I say paying yourself and making that a priority, you know, you gotta look at your past self. What have you already got that you're still paying for? Your present self. How can you know, enjoy the fruits of your labor by, you know, doing things? And pay yourself in the future, so that way, you know, in case you get sick, or there's some kind of accident, or, you know, maybe you get old, then you're not like in the poorhouse from either of those events. And the reason why this would be something like I didn't put spending habit at the top. Spending habits part 2. Oh, that looks like a 3. My mistake. Alright. Good enough. Spending habits part... that's kind of the whole thing about this. That's good enough. My model? Good enough. This presentation? Good enough. You know, it's supposed to be for tutoring, right? So, it's not exactly have to be like fancy, you know, blam effects. But yeah, spending habits part 2. So paying yourself is developing the habit of being able to do these things where you pay yourself, and that's part of the budget setting process. But it's also changing the frame of mind in which how you spend your money, right? Because let's say, for example, if you're going shopping. Oh shoot, what does a cart look like? Oh my goodness. I mean, I've seen carts, right? But I forget, do they still look like this? With the little kind of... I think so. Is that in the front or the back? I'm gonna pretend it's in the front. Alright. And let me move it. There you go. Alright, is my model in frame? Yeah, we're good. Good enough. Alright. So, alright. So pretend we're spending money, right? And we're going shopping, right? Moving along. And we're buying stuff. And maybe you have like a list of groceries. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta get this item. And I gotta get this item. And I gotta get this thing on the list. Alright? But then you see something. Whoa. Donuts. Oh man. Donuts are great. Right? Not only is it a donut, there's like a whole box of them. There we go. It's like, oh man, this is pretty great. Look at all these donuts. Ah, that's amazing. I should totally get these. But, again, part of this habit is instead of being mindless and thinking like, yeah, let me just get it, right? You think, wait a minute, hold on. Did I pay myself in the past first? Did I already pay my debits? Did I already do a little bit more than the bare minimum? Okay, yeah. Did I already spend my fund money for this month? No, I have a little bit left, but it's not quite enough to pay for the donuts. Did I already put enough money into retirement and pay my insurance? Yeah, probably, right? And then you think, okay, well then, yeah, let me just check really quick. And then you check your bank account, right? You can look. Do you have savings? If your savings is like $0, then you think, really gotta think. But if you have a fair amount of savings, right? Then you also gotta look at your checking. Because maybe you're saving that money for, I don't know, a repair of some sort, right? You know, something in your house is gonna break down, you budget for it. You think, okay, well I have something in my savings, but let me check my checking account. Because you're checking $0. Then you think, I don't know. I mean, I already paid myself. I do have the fund money, but it doesn't quite cover this. Right? But then you think, okay, you know what? Actually, I did. I did save money. I did save money in my checking. I paid everything off. And you know what? I actually over budgeted. And I have a little bit extra money now. Yeah, you know, I think I could do this. I think I could spend the money on this. Got like 10 bucks, right? And these donuts are on sale. So then you get it. You have fun. You do the thing that you want to do for yourself. Why not? And again, it's not like a hedonistic thing. It's because you went through the whole process. And instead of just it being a mindless habit, you really thought the whole thing through. And it was like, yeah, sure. I can get this donut. Why not? But, again, that's what we want to get to. The habit that you have to be aware of is where you just think, oh man, donuts, let me just get it. And then you just get it and you throw it on the card. And then now your current self, right, if you don't do this process, if you don't really think things through, if you don't look at your finances, as you do this is like impulse shopping. It's kind of how they get you. And what happens is that now you're debiting it, or sorry, crediting it. Well, it's debt. It is credit. It's there's a nuance. I know. You're putting it on credit, and you're going into debt, but it's not quite a debt. It's a debt to yourself, right? Okay, so you're getting a debt to yourself to satisfy your present self. But then also, I don't know, maybe you could also pause and think, well, it's donuts, right? Is your future self going to be happy with that? Is your stomach going to be happy with that? I don't know. It depends, right? Maybe you can do it and it's totally fine, but maybe this is like a weekly thing where it's just like, yeah, let me just get some donuts. Yeah, let me just get some donuts. Then it's going to be like kind of bad. That's not a frowny face. There you go. So again, it's just the kind of the mindless spending, the impulse buying. That is what, instead of you have to change that, you think of paying yourself first. Your past, your present, your future. Then looking at your finances and thinking, oh yeah, I can do this. And again, part of paying your present self, you could have a donut budget. That's fine. I don't see why not, if you're really into it. If it's like, man, you grew up and you're dreaming of donuts, and you're thinking, oh man, if only I could get donuts every day or every week. And then you know, reach a point in your life where you can, and it's not like horrible, and maybe it's just like the one. Sure. Fine. Go for it. Live a little, right? Think about it though, as before you do it. And then there's another thing, that these things about paying yourself, they're interconnected, right? And the weird thing is that maybe you think, oh, well, you know, I can't afford to pay down my credit card this month because or maybe I just have too much, right? By the way, all this is not financial advice. I know it seems like it, but I guess everyone has to say that, so it's not. But paying your past self will help with your present self, and also paying your future self helps with your present self. The way that works is what's a analogy? I can't think of one, so I'll just kind of go over the example. So maybe you are of the mindset of, I need to live for today, because I don't know what tomorrow brings. That, you know, things can go terrible tomorrow. Why should I just always live for today? And the reason why is because the past, when you pay your past self, it does help your present. When you pay your future self, it helps your present in very specific ways that I don't think a lot of people consider. And that's basically stress. And more stress. And then if you have like a lot of debt that you owe, if you have a lot of payments you have to make, if you have a lot of things that are eating away of your budget, if you have like a lien on your bank account, all these things can happen if you don't manage your past, and that just adds stress and stress and stress and stress. And what happens there, with all the money that you're losing or not managing, or, you know, maybe it could be other things, right? Maybe it's other stuff like you're not taking care of yourself or your body, and you're getting sick all the time. And you were getting sick, but now, you know, you're not treating the thing, so you're still getting sick. Maybe it's I don't know, something that's broken and is slowly breaking, right? Maybe there's like a broken windshield on the car. Does that look like a car? Crack? Yeah, close enough. Right? And every time in the present that you're looking at these things, you're looking at the stress from the bank account, you're looking at the stress from your health, from the car. These issues in the past, if you're not taking care of them, then that's going to stress out your present. Also, in the future, right? Things that you know that are going to happen. Like, I know I have to go to the hospital, but I don't have insurance. I know that I have to get this, I know I have to budget for when the window cracks. Or actually, I guess, would that be in the future? No, because it actually cracks in the future. Let me think of different examples other than health and cars. Let's see. Yeah, maybe if I think, oh man, I'm not gonna have enough money to go to a concert, right? Let's see, what is a musical note? Right? Oh man, I know I'm not gonna have enough music to go to a concert because I didn't budget for it and all my friends are going. Maybe there's gonna be some kind of, big dinner that everyone's gonna celebrate for Thanksgiving, right? Friendsgiving, Familiesgiving, I don't know, Worksgiving. And I didn't make anything. I didn't make anything for the potluck. And I'm gonna show up there with an empty bowl of nothing, right? Stressing out about that. Not preparing for the future for these things. You're gonna look at that at the present, and that's gonna stress out your present. And that stress, maybe if you still have that, things don't matter, devil may care attitude, that will build up. And that's not good. And again, it's not necessarily a major event, any of these things. It's not one large life-changing thing. It is the compounding effect of all these small little things that slowly happen over a period of time. And when they happen over time, it builds over days, weeks, months, years. I think a good example. How can I make this math related? No, a good example is English related, actually. The writing process. If you write a little bit every day, eventually that adds up to a sentence, to a paragraph, to a page, to a book. Right? You don't have to write the whole thing right now, just maybe little bits and pieces. And it adds up. And in the same way in which that can happen, right? Maybe you're doing just free writing, journaling, poetry, whatever. Scribbles on the bathroom wall. I don't know. That could be poetry, right? I think so. The more you write and add those things up, it creates a product, it creates a thing. But here, the product of mismanaging life or finances can add to stress. And that stress results in a product which is not a good life. So, caring for your past and caring for your future is caring for your present self, in that sense. That's kind of the secret. That's kind of the secret sauce. And there's also, that's the secret sauce for living a decent life, right? But how does someone get filthy rich, right? We're in the United States. You hear all these stories about someone doing something and then become this great thingamabob, and all of a sudden they have a massive fortune. Wow, how does that happen? I wish I knew too. But I've heard something that was interesting. And again, you don't have to buy a book or attend a webinar to hear it. I'll just tell you right now. So what a lot of this budgeting and maybe the future self is kind of where it's at, really. Yes, your past self is important, right? And if you're on top of it, then that's just kind of an automatic thing. If you're on top of paying down your debts, if you're on top of going to see healthcare people regularly, if you're on top of getting your car maintenance regularly, if you're on top of all this stuff and you just kind of have it scheduled, it's automatic. This thing, you can treat your past kind of like a macro or a script, right? It's just something that you plug in, you press the start button, boom, and then it just runs automatically by itself, right? You have your schedule, you have your thing, just don't compromise it. Don't cut it out, just let it run. And then it'll just go through and then you're done. It's literally set it and forget it. Once you have your past settled, that's how it works, right? Then your present is where you actually get to live and enjoy the fun. But then you should also take more time into the future, because the future is where you can find the most success. In that, maybe a very basic thing would people would do something like a 10-year plan, right? Seems like a long time, 10 years, right? What happened in the past 10 years? 2, 3 presidential administrations, right? I don't know. What are some new games that came out in the past 10 years? I'm pretty sure Skyrim came out. No, wait, not Skyrim. Oh my gosh, I was thinking of Elden Ring. And I said Skyrim. That's so silly. Skyrim's been around forever. There's probably more mods for Skyrim in the past 10 years than there maybe have been in a while. So, maybe there's that. I don't know. In the past 10 years, someone that was born 10 years ago would now be 10. There, right? Crazy to imagine. If you've been alive for more than 10 years, which I hope to goodness you are, everyone here should be quite old. Then you could think like, oh yeah, what did I do 10 years ago? And you could probably remember, oh, I did this and that. What was I doing? I was working. I was tutoring, too. But not like, you know, this online setup. Just for funsies. And in 10 years, right, a lot can happen. If maybe you've been going to classes, to skill development, to promotions, to jobs, to just maybe vacations, maybe life, family, love, I don't know. But what can happen is that you can also plan for 10 years. And you can have something like a 10-year plan, right? And in a professional sense, you can make a 10-year plan for anything, right? I can make a 10-year plan for a game that's been out for... I can make a 10-year plan for WoW, probably. Say like, oh yeah, I want to, you know, in the first 3 months... Let's see. I forgot the exact thing. I think it's like 3 months... Or is it 6 months? I am misspelling months. How terrible. M-O-N-T-H-S. And I also forgot I could just copy paste. 6 months. 1 year. 5 year. 10 year, right? I guess I gotta zoom out a little bit. And, you know, you have like these this scale, these gradients of, you know, short-term plans, medium-term plans, and a long-term plan, right? And maybe, let's stick with, this is Twitch. I know this is it's supposed to be tutoring, and this is math. I can do a bit of both, right? So, let's say for the 3-month plan is to try to get good at a game. And at 6 months, you want to get all the achievements. And in 1 year, you want to be in a speedrun tournament, right? Or you want to try speedrunning. And then for 5 years, you want to do a tournament speedrun, competitive, right? And then in 10 years, you want to be the best in the world. Alright. So that's fair, right? Sure, why not? Get good, do all the things, try something complicated, be competitive about it, and be the best. And then you would break that up into, you know, sections on how you can realize this, right? Get good. make time for it, right? Make sure you have the right equipment. I don't know, what's a competitive equipment? Like a joystick pad, I guess. Sure. And then for achievements, right? Then you want to do a lot of reading, a lot of understanding how the code works. No, wait, that's for speedrun. Sorry. For achievements, you just want to do a lot of reading. So just like web browsing, I guess on what, Google? How to, right? Do you watch videos on how to do all the achievements for the thing? And then for speedrunning, you could say, well, you know, I want to practice one route, right? One category. And then for the tournament, then you want to enter at this tournament in a specific area. Let's say, I don't know. Let's do Florida. It's an easy shape to draw. Kind of. And then to be the best, you gotta know like who to beat, right? Who's the #1 guy? Alright, and then all these things you could kind of break down into habits too, right? So to be the best, you wanna know who the guy is. To be the tournament, you gotta make plans for that, plan out that trip. For the speed run, you gotta break that route into smaller routes. For the achievements, you could kind of break it down into how many videos you're gonna watch or think about this a day and actually do it. And for get good, how you're gonna budget and set time for this stuff, right? And then over time, then it's gonna kind of move on over to where these things happen. And there you go, you accomplish your goal. You accomplished your 10-year goal where you're the best in the world in a game that's already 10 years old. Cool. I like it. I love it. I think it's a fantastic idea. But, as I said earlier, the future is something that you can plan beyond that. It's the future. You can go as far as you want, right? If you think you're gonna live for longer than 10 years, this is where the space, where the money is at. This whole area, 10+ years. That is where you get the gold medal. That's where you start getting paid for it. That's where you start making a career out of it. That's where, and again, it doesn't actually have to take 10 years. Depending on your aptitude and how frequent you stick with it, how much you try. It could be sooner, it could be on time, it could be later, but planning beyond just 10 years. Planning, and I get it that planning like even for 10 years can be kind of like a push. But planning beyond that, that is how people make real wealth. And that's how you kind of say, okay, well, in like 50 years, where am I going to be? I'm going to be retired. Okay, well, what I got to do to satisfy that? I got to put retirement money. Again, I know I keep pushing this thing about retirement, but I like to think that, you know, we're all going to get old someday. I have faith. I believe in your ability to live long enough to be old. So, to that end, you know, putting away funds for that will help you find success there, and it could be happening all during this career. And again, I'm not just trying to just push for retirement all the time. What I'm saying is that, you know, in the past I've done formulas and kind of demonstrations using math to show that retirement just, after a period of time, it just compounds to such an insane degree that it is mind-boggling to how much it can help you out. I guess this is where I plug my YouTube. Yeah, check it out. Check out the thing that talks about money math. I forgot which one it is. But if anyone's watching this, you know, look into how, or you could just research it yourself, right? Although that's kind of lame. I mean, you can do it. I believe in you. It's not lame to do your own research, right? I'm just saying it's lame for me to kind of, you know, push off and say, oh yeah, trust what I'm saying and look it up on your own. I don't want to do that. No. But I mean, if you just do basic math, right? Let's see. What is, oh geez, I forgot. Is this like a logarithmic scale? It's been a while. It's not exponential. Kind of. But kind of is, but not really. Like $100, right? Compounding that. Gosh, 10% would be insane. Let's do a very. Let's do a 5%, right? A year. Sorry about that noise. I used the wrong mute button. Had a cough. Alright, so 10% or 5%. 5% at 100. So this would be the, I believe, APR or APY? AP something. Alright, but this is how much you would get if you were to put it in maybe the... Everyone likes to talk about the S&P 500, although it wibble wobbles, right? Sometimes it's really low, but lately it's been like 15%. But let's pretend that there is a perfect thing like a bond, right? But that's like stuck at 5%. So 100 at 5% becomes 105, right? And that is year 1. Right? Year 2, assuming that you don't put anything else in, right? 105 at 5% becomes, what is it, like 10.25? Oh, let me bust out the calculator. 105 times 1.05. I should show you the formula. So it's always, to do percentage multiplication, 5% equals 0.05, right? And to do the calculation to kind of leapfrog from one year to another, you just multiply it by 1, so the number itself, times 1.05. And then you just do that over and over and over and over and over again, right? So if I do... Okay, so the first year would be 105. Year 2 would be 110.25, right? And if I keep doing that multiplication of 1.05, right? And we're doing beyond 10 years. So let's do, I think 30, right? A lot of things are tend to be in 30 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Alright, so that $100 becomes $432 and about 19 cents in 30 years. Alright? Now this is assuming you made one decision 30 years in the past to put $100 into something for the sake of retirement, and that becomes $432, right? But what people like to do is they like to pile it on. They like to add more and more as the years go by. So then, you know, you add not just 100 per year, but maybe per week, per month, and then it keeps adding up, adding up, adding up. And that 5% is no longer of just the 100, it's like 5% of 200, or 5% of 300. Or if you did the whole year, 5% of 1,200 and 1,200, right? And again, it doesn't quite add up evenly like that, where it's just like, all right, you have your final number, and then it's 5% of that. It kind of goes by percentage, like, as the year goes on. So it's a percentage of the 200, then the percent of 300, then percent of the stuff, and then it's like a fraction of a percent, so then the total year is like 5%. But maybe like a month-by-month basis. It's more like something that you wouldn't even think about. It's like a 0.42%. But you might think, well, that's just pennies. Why does that even matter? Well, that's only pennies because you're starting off with dollars. becomes dollars when he starts off with Benjamins, and then it just goes baller, out of control. And again, so using this basic kind of math, I should move it. Using this basic kind of math formula, and like really rough napkin math, right? You can kind of see that, you know, with just the 100, without adding extra money every time, it becomes this. Now, I know for a fact that there is an interest calculator online that you could use. I think it's on like calculator.net or something like that. I recommend it. It's a calculator. It'll do the job. And then you could kind of be like, oh my goodness, I could be a millionaire when I'm 80? Like, something like that, right? Or maybe earlier, like 65. And only if you start when you're youngish, like in your 20s, mid-20s. And if you have to do like a percentage of your income, I think they talk about like 15% of your gross. Again, not financial advice, but check it out. So, to that end, darn it, I was supposed to talk about spending habits, but I went back into talking about retirement. I've been thinking a lot about it, okay? I'm sorry. I'm thinking about my future self a lot. And part of that is just kind of going into this kind of rabbit hole. My apologies. But it is part of a spending habit, because if you set that habit earlier and set it and forget it, and it becomes something like a past habit where it's just automatic, it's a script, it's just a deduction, you don't even think about it, you don't pillage it for maybe paying off something that you want to buy now, you just kind of leave it there and just quietly builds up, you're golden. You are set in ways that maybe it's hard to even fathom. Because you're thinking of yourself not just in the 10-year frame, right? You're thinking of yourself in the 30-year frame. And in the 30-year frame, that's where you can have all this. Now, again, maybe you might not think, I'm not going to live for 30 years, right? I'm going to live for the now. I couch surf. I have a job. I don't want a boss. And there's individual retirement accounts. That's the thing. You could just do it yourself. DIY. And the thing is, again, it'll take off that stress. It'll take off that stress, so then you don't have to worry about it, and it doesn't pile up and compromise your present living situation, because you're always worried about the future. If you have these things set and forget, then you're golden. So yeah, don't cap out at 10-year plans. Go beyond that. For anything, right? Anything you really want to achieve in life, anything you want to have fun with. I believe in you. And then, oh, this is applicable. I got some ideas from from a different source. They're talking about teaching youngins and children how to save money. I guess that's important, right? I mean, how young? I don't know. That's just what the notes say. Piggy banks, I guess. But yeah, I guess like piggy banks. Save for a rainy day. I have a niece. Well, it's a bit different, right? All right. I know 2 kids. All right, a niece and a nephew. All right, and they have piggy banks, okay? But the way in which they get that change is very different. Check this out. So one, right? The way that she gets the change is that it's given to her, in the sense that, you know, it's the grandparent is the one, right? Is that how do I draw bags under eyebrows to make look someone old? Right? It's the grandparent who's actually saving the money and doing the piggy bank stuff, and just kind of tossing it over to the niece. right? But she's not saving it herself. She's not counting it. She's not allocating for it. She's not seeing the process to get it. She's just getting the final result. And so she just gets like a bunch of change. And she thinks, cool. Right? The other one, it's a little guy who, whenever, you know, he gets money for Christmas or stuff, instead of spending it, he puts it in there, right? And so he's the one that's actually doing it. And then he's actually able to see the fruits of his labor of all that change, right? And so, to that end, I'm pretty sure that the little guy who takes the time to actually, you know, is told to save his money to see how it's going to build up at the end of the year, and they could choose to either save it or keep building, save it, keep building, and then he gets to spend it how he wants, right? That is where he's going to learn how savings work at a young age, right? Unfortunately, the niece, she's not learning that lesson. She's learning, oh yeah, this guy, he's Mr. Moneybags, this old man. He's got all the money. And that's not a very good lesson to learn at a young and impressionable age. Instead, you want to empower, I guess, nieces and nephews to save their own money, so then they could be the person that's making the money bags, so then they could find that success in life. So, you know, I guess if you kind of have this dynamic, you know, try to lean more into helping them be more self-empowered, rather than enabling them to just see the fruits of the labor. This could apply for anything, right? This could apply for cooking. This could apply for house chores. I think chiefly, though, this would apply for math and homework, right? There's a difference between someone who just does all the homework and then hands it to someone else, and someone who does the homework themselves, right? There's a difference between someone who does all the cooking. Does that look like food? Yeah, sure, why not? And someone who does it themselves, right? And, you know, eventually these kids are gonna get old, right? And this one will be the old man. And this one will be the old lady. I should probably get in her hair. And there's a big difference in how they're gonna apply what they learned growing up into their life, where one might have that sense, that expectation of getting things, and the other one might have that sense of expectation of making things. There's the consumer, and then there's the producer. So, again, it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it is sometimes. I try to help, right? I try to involve, I try to tell them the stuff, but I mean, come on, man. If you had like a game, right, that was like, how to put this? It's like aim assist, right? If you're playing like a game where, you know, one's the controller and one's mouse and keyboard, right? And, you know, this thing, it has aim assist to where it's just gonna shoot right onto the target. And then this one you kind of have to, there's no aim assist, and you have to get good. There's gonna be a difference in skill when, you know, this person swapped over to this person's position. They're like, man, I can't hit anything. There's no aim assist, it's terrible. And then this person switches over to here, and they'd be like, oh man, this game's easy. Just like auto body shots. It's fantastic. Why haven't I doing this before? But because, you know, one did that kind of struggle without the aim assist, they're able to do better than the one that did. I think this applies to like homework and math, especially tutoring, school, in a general sense. Now how do I tie this into spending habits? I think I went off the beaten path. I think I went way, way out of there. But, oh, hey, here's something. Our spending habits, right? Maybe they were taught to us at a young age. And that's totally true, right? This kid, he has good spending habits. This kid has like no spending habits, right? There's a difference between having some and having like none, like zero. How do I draw zero? Like this. And so because this kid developed spending habits and learned to save at an early age, then they'll be able to easily understand these concepts and build upon them. Whereas this kid maybe didn't have those spending habits at a young age, wasn't exposed to this sort of thing, it's going to be a bit of a journey. And so to that end, if anyone needs help with, I don't know, I wanted to just tutor math. I don't know if I want to be like a self-help coach. But I mean, if it's math related, it's kind of what it's kind of there. Oh boy. Alright. Well, hey, this was our Thanksgiving special of Spending Habits Part 2. I think next time I'll try to go back more into focus on things that are maybe more directly math relevant rather than just like a habit, psychology, planning thing, and more just like a numbers thing. Yeah, the boring stuff that actually gets the work done. So I'll try that next time. But to anyone that's here, hey, thank you very much for coming. Again, don't feel shy. You can always say anything. YouTube, I guess, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I don't know why people say that. I guess it's important if they want to get noticed, but I mean, it's just an archive. It's just kind of there to like reference and look back on. But alright, hey, thank you all for coming to the stream, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a good night.